Hello and welcome, my wonderful Coldplay fans out there. It is 2024 and this year is for Coldplay. In this video, I'm going to be covering a ton of updates, including FFTF, some new songs Coldplay is working on, tour updates, and even a track list that was unintentionally revealed. Now, before we get started, if you have not done so yet, definitely subscribe to this channel and leave a like on this video. And if you're interested in talking about Coldplay after this video, definitely join the Discord server, which I will link in the description below. It's just a super fun community that I really enjoy. And with tour coming up, there are people who share links to the live videos, so it's just a ton of fun. But with all that being said, let us get started with these updates. So I wanted to start off with some updates about FFTF 2024. And just to give some context for those who might not know what this is, there was a booklet from Everyday Life that had a billboard on it, and on the billboard it said Music of the Spheres. And of course, with that booklet coming out well before Music of the Spheres came out, it kind of predicted that album, and a lot of people had so many speculations about it, which eventually came true. But also in that same booklet, on that same page, it has this car, and on the car, on the license plate of the car, it says FFTF 2024. So keep in mind that Everyday Life was released in 2019, so we've been talking about this booklet for a long time. But recently, in late November of last year, somebody tweeted at Coldplay asking a very specific question. They said, "Hey Coldplay, to celebrate us being 1 month away from 2024, may we please have a hint for what FFTF 2024 means?" To which Coldplay actually responded, or more than likely Phil responded with an hourglass emoji. So this doesn't give a ton of context other than the possibility of 2024 actually referring to the time, as in 2024, the year. But it was interesting to see them respond to this because it seemed really intentional. And then fast forward a couple months, on January 5th of this year, there was a tweet that said, "Hey Phil, how has 2024 treated you so far? Is it still the year for FFTF, or has it been postponed?" And Phil responded saying, FFTF 2024 PH. So there's a lot of speculation going around about this and no real definite answers, but clearly there is significance to this year. And we already know that they're planning on releasing the album Moon Music this year, but exactly what FFTF means, we're not entirely sure. Way back when we first started talking about this, a lot of people thought it meant finale for the fans. But we already know Coldplay is planning on releasing 2 albums past this, and the last album should be called Coldplay. So the idea that the last album being called finale for the fans is very unlikely. And honestly, I just can't make a ton of sense of what FFTF means. But I'm leaving this up to you. If you guys have any ideas of what you think it means, years since this has been posted in that booklet, please comment below. I just love to know your thoughts. All right, so next, I just wanted to bring up something real quick. There were a lot of pictures being shared around of Chris Martin in this like turtleneck, a black turtleneck similar to what he wore back in like Russia Blood to the Head era. And this somehow was connected to a music video of some sorts. But I just wanted to mention that Phil came out and said that it is not connected to Coldplay. So whether this is a project Chris is doing himself or the idea of this being a music video is completely blown out of proportion, I'm not entirely sure. But I just wanted to come out and say that that was not a Coldplay thing, but also I'm just pretty curious about what exactly it is. But I guess we just can't make a ton of sense of it now, but hopefully we'll have more information to come on that soon. All right, so now to move on to the big topic that I wanted to share with you today, and that is the new music coming in 2024. First off, they released this like recap video of 2023, and in it, it showed a ton of different clips, including them working in the studio, but also a clip of recorded tracks on a DAW. So I just thought that was kind of cool to see them in the studio working on things, but also seeing audio and tracks from a song they're actually working on. There also have been a lot of rumors about Coldplay working with the Chainsmokers again. In a tweet they said, "The Chainsmokers drop hints about a potential new collaboration with Coldplay during a recent Discord Q&A. The collaboration could be the follow-up to the global smash hit Something Just Like This, and the more recent Riptide, featured on the duo album So Far So Good, co-written with Chris Martin. So that really piqued my interest, and also I'll be talking about this a little bit later in this video, so stay tuned for that. Also, not Coldplay thing, but a Chris Martin thing. Chris will be featured on a song Over You from Jacob Collier's new album coming out on February 29th. And that album is pretty interesting because I'm pretty sure every song on it is featuring a different artist, so it was kind of cool to see Chris involved in this project. Alright, so while we're talking about new music, I also wanted to talk about a track list that was kind of leaked. On a TikTok post by Nile Rodgers, it shows Chris Martin and him sitting together, and behind them you can see this whiteboard, and on that whiteboard it appears to be song titles on the album Moon Music, of which you can read Moon Music, Man in the Moon, something that looks like it says Good Feelings, which I'll talk about a little bit more, and Jupiter. So I'm not sure if this was leaked on purpose, but it seems pretty intentional to me. But regardless, we have heard a few of these song titles before, like Moon Music and Jupiter. But the new songs, Man in the Moon and something that looks like it says Good Feelings, are new. And I really wanted to focus on the song Good Feelings because this one is just really interesting to me. Because if you go to Genius Lyrics right now and type in Moon Music, it comes up with an album by Coldplay and has a song called Good Feelings on it. And not only does it have the song title, but it has all of the lyrics to that song. And it says that it's featuring the Chainsmokers. So I don't know exactly where Genius Lyrics is getting this information from, but it definitely fits together with all the information we've gotten so far. And just to add on to that, from what I've heard, this song is supposed to include Angel Moon and have that high-pitched voice on it again, which I know has been a little controversial. Some people absolutely hate it, some people love it, but I'm just interested to see how this song works out, if it actually comes to fruition, if this title is real, and if they're actually working with the Chainsmokers. And lastly, in this section of new music, I just wanted to mention the other songs that have been talked about, which is One World, A Wave, and Inertia. So, of course, if you have thoughts on any of those songs, if I'm missing anything, any input at all, definitely comment below. And now, one of the last things I wanted to talk about in this video is the release date or potential release date for Moon Music. So recently, in a tweet by Color Regina, it said the following: I just got back home from the AAF studio. Guy was there. An employee said he'd been there for most of the day. There were a lot of friends and family there, so I felt a little out of place and didn't feel right to ask for a picture. But he did sign my A Rush of Blood to the Head vinyl and Parachutes CD. He recognized us from last July and said that they are almost done recording and that Moon Music will probably come out around September, but that they'll play new songs at the shows, and he's moving to Amsterdam. So there's a lot to unpack about this, but this was kind of a bittersweet post because Coldplay previously mentioned that Moon Music would come out in May of 2024. And that was heard from, I believe, Chris himself in a meetup done about 3 months ago. But the more I thought about this, the more I was curious to know, was he referring to the song Moon Music, and that Moon Music, the album, would actually come out in September, like this person said. It's been quite some time since that interview where Chris was talking about Moon Music, so if you have any thoughts on this, or if you have any more information on this release date, definitely comment below. But regardless, I feel like May was a little bit optimistic, so I'm happy just having an album released this year in general. But also just thinking about the logistics, they do have a long break from tour from September 3rd to October 29th. So logistically, it kind of does make sense to release an album there. And if I'm going to put a guess on it, I'd say that maybe an album release could be in late September, around September 27th. But if you'd like to predict when the release date for this album will be, definitely comment below. And last but not least, I just wanted to talk about Tour. So Coldplay is just about to start the Asia leg of tour, and that's going to be running from January 19th till February 4th. And in that time, they are going to have 10 shows. But from what I've seen recently, it looks like every show is going to be sold out. So for me, it's just personally exciting to hear them playing shows again and potentially playing new music, as they alluded to. Now, I don't think they're going to be playing new music right off the bat, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do start playing new music within this leg of the tour. But I also wanted to mention that after February 4th, they do have a long break which spans all the way until June. So perhaps it's more realistic to expect them to play new music in that June leg and then release the album in September and then go on tour from that. But of course, I'd love to know your thoughts on that as well. And that, my friends, is everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. And again, if you haven't done so yet, definitely subscribe to this channel and leave a like on this video because it really does help me a ton. And feel free to join the Discord server, again, linked in the description below. It's a great community and we'd love to have you be a part of it. But thank you so very much for watching to the very end here. I appreciate you and look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, peace.